Back inside the studio, everybody. Mike, I'm back. I made it safe, back from Wisconsin. Our usual cast and crew for TinChattin. He's Mike Maahs, radio play-by-play voice of the Fort Wayne TinCaps. I'm Justin Prince, and Mike, it's been a lonely few days without the TinCaps. We're happy to have them back tonight, but looking back at last week, the team did exactly what they needed to do, exactly what we said they needed to do against the Lansing Lugnuts. They go out, they take 4 of their first 4 games against them and then drop the last 2, but overall, 4 of 6 against Lansing, and they finished the homestand on really a good note.
Yeah, because it was the second week of the second 12-game and 13-day homestand of the year. And you're right, Lansing, just the tonic the TinCaps needed,
no
and they have all year. And in spite of losing the last 2 games of the series, which both were competitive, in 18 games against the high A affiliate of the Oakland A's, the TinCaps took 13 of the 18, 13-5.
It's pretty good.
And that's not a bad percentage at all. And so I think to some degree everybody enjoyed the 4-day break for the Major League All-Star game. And again, now we're in the home stretch.
Yeah.
Tonight they start a 3-game series in Dayton.
Yep.
And then they'll have a 6-game series at Peoria. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I think back to what Brian Esposito said on a number of occasions. The goal in the second half
is to take 4
is to win
6.
every series.
Yep.
And with this one exception, with this 3-game series in Dayton, the rest of the way, 6-game series, 7 of them. If you take 4 out of 6 in each remaining series of the year, and say you get lucky and take 2 out of 3 in Dayton, that means you're looking right there at
I mean, you're over 500 for
28,
the rest of the year.
that'd be 30 wins out of the last 45. 30 and 15, that's a 667 winning percentage, 2 out of every 3. That might get the job done, depending on how our friends from suburban Grand Rapids do. The Whitecaps are playing really good baseball, and they actually have a 16-5 record starting play tonight in the second half. And the TinCaps are 9-12, so they do have one more series to those 2 teams here in Fort Wayne before the season comes to an end. But the opportunity is there.
Yeah, and obviously, before we get to that point, you know, we want to talk about a little bit last week. Like you said, the Lansing, just kind of the tonic the TinCaps kind of needed. They got themselves, it seemed like, kind of turned around a little bit. The offense certainly there for a lot of the week. The pitching was phenomenal for much of the week. Mike, this just looked like a different ball club than we've seen, you know, for the last 2.5 months.
I think it goes back to the first series these 2 teams played back in April up in Lansing, when the TinCaps took 5 out of 6. This magical word called comfortability. Yeah. The TinCaps were very comfortable playing Lansing this year. They just had the aura around them that winning teams possess. And that's when you're comfortable playing an opponent, you just know that things are going to go your way more often than not. And that's what happened. 5 out of 6 the first go-around in Lansing, 4 out of 6 the second go-around, and 4 out of 6 at home last week. And so you win 3 series. Now, the TinCaps have only won 4 series all year.
I know.
But 3 of them come against Lansing. And now the trick is to keep those same inner feelings by playing other opponents.
And you mentioned, obviously, the 4-day All-Star break. Really, it was a little bit longer for one of the TinCaps players. I know they certainly enjoyed it. Robert Hassel, I know, certainly probably enjoyed it a little bit more. Hassel getting a chance to play in last week's MLB Futures game, the first ever TinCap.
Active TinCap.
Yeah, active TinCap, I should say. Thank you for adding that. To get to appear on that stage. And Mike, he showed out for his friends back here in the 260, got a hit, an RBI, and doing so in some enemy territory over there in Los Angeles.
And made a couple of catches. And he played in right field.
Yeah, that was a little strange to see.
That was surprising to see. But, you know, I didn't check the roster in terms of how many low or high A players were selected. It was primarily AAA and AA. And Robert Hassel got in because, you know, he was the 8th overall pick in the 2020 draft and the #1 pick by San Diego. And I'm reading some places that they're projecting that Hassel could be a starting center fielder in San Diego. in 2024. Now, that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But there's at least one publication that thinks if Hassel progresses as he has thus far here in Fort Wayne, the sky's the limit for him.
I mean, we've all certainly seen that all year long, Mike, a guy who's hitting above 300 for the entire season, shade below 10 home runs on the year, speed that kills, plays a solid center field for the TinCaps, just a guy who certainly looks the part of a potential possible star in the major leagues. And you know, and he's only 20 years old,
Yes.
I believe it is.
Yeah, he won't be 21 for a while yet. I know Elijah and I briefly mentioned it last week while you were off gallivanting. But there are 12 offensive categories, and Robert Hassel's in the top 10 in 7 of the 12.
That's pretty good, I'd say.
And that's not bad at all, including batting average, stolen bases,
Yeah.
hits, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, and what have you. There's 7 categories that he's in the top 10 in the league. And so the inevitable question, and we've talked about it all season long, how long will we stay in a Fort Wayne uniform? Well, stay tuned. We'll all have to find out together.
Yeah.
But as far as we know, we have to enjoy what we can while we can.
Yep.
And obviously we wish Robert the best of luck because we know he's not going to be here for the entire 2022 season.
More than likely not. And speaking of getting back to that, obviously if you really want to call it that, I know it's not their second half, but really the kickoff to the start of their second half really begins tonight over in Dayton. And Mike, I'm going to lend a term from one of my favorite movies, Dodgeball. This is where the TinCaps have to separate the wheat from the chaff. This is the time when they can really make a move. They've got 2 series against 2 teams that are starting to reel a little bit in Dayton and in Peoria. And this is another point in time where they can go out and get a couple more wins and kind of bolster their resume a little bit.
Let's project slightly a little bit. You've got 3 games in Dayton followed by 6 games in Peoria. If the TinCaps can take 6 of the 9 on the road, and remember, they have a better win-loss record on the road than they do at Parkview Field. But if they could take 6 out of 9 on this road trip, they'll get to the 500 mark for the second half.
With 36 games left to go.
With 36 games to go. And let's say they go 2-1 and 4-2.
Yeah.
That'll be 2 more series wins.
Yeah.
And that would be 3 series wins in a row.
Big confidence boost, if anything.
Really, it is. And then they can try to make some hay. And again, the only way that they're going to make the playoffs is by winning the second half Eastern Division title.
Yeah.
That's the only way they get in. So they know what they have to do.
Yeah.
Now, can they do it?
Yeah, that's the good part about it, Mike. Still a lot of baseball left to be played, and certainly have put themselves in a good position to hopefully make a run towards the playoffs. That's going to do it for this edition of TinChattin. As always, he is Mike Maahs. I am Justin Prince. Elijah and I will be right back after the break.